the machinery, the car, the asset. We record the asset in our asset side. So if we have a building in leasing, under a leasing contract, this building is in our PPE. On the other side, we have the financial debt with the leasing company. Okay? So leasing debts are considered financial debts. Even if they are strictly related with a specific asset. This changes when we calculate the cash flow statement. But for now, in the reformulated balance sheet, we have the leasing as a financial debt. But it is clear that it is a different debt from a bank account, from a bond, from a loan, from a bank overdraft, etc., etc. But it is a financial debt. According to the international accounting standards, it is a financial debt. It is current and non-current, depending on the maturity. Okay? When we reformulate the balance sheet, we have different options, and I will discuss with you these options tomorrow and during the next classes when we face how to reclassify the debt. But technically, they are in the all these items can be considered short-term or long-term according to the maturity. So, for example, if we have a bond of 10 million and we pay back the bond 2 million per year for the next 5 years, we have these 10 million, that 2 million are short-term and 8 million are long-term. So we split the total amount according to the maturity. Okay, but usually we don't have this problem because the balance sheet is already represented according to the current and non-current. So the non-current part is already hidden. Okay? Using the same approach that we have followed for the operating activity, in the financing activity, we move all the financial assets, changing the sign. So we have here financial assets that are long-term or short-term. Okay? Depending on the maturity. Yes?
I wanted to ask about the debt for leasing. I think that the regulation says that leasing goes straight to the P&L as an expense. It doesn't count as a debt.
we have signed a leasing contract of 10 million. Okay. This is the value of the asset. And then we have our financial debt of 10 million. There is the debt that we have with the leasing company, right? This leasing is in 4 years, okay? And the repayment structure is 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, and 2,000 plus 2,000 if, no, okay, 11 plus 3,000 if we want to buy the asset again. Okay? Every year we repay this debt plus the interest. Okay? And the interest is 5%. So the period T plus 1, we have a cash out of 2,100, right? Okay. We have a decrease of the debt because the debt is no more 11, now is 9. And we have a cost of 100, and this cost goes in the PL.
Only the interest goes to the P&L, not the whole
No.
thing.
Yeah. Part of it is the reimbursement of the debt, and the part is the payment of interest. In the P&L goes another component that is the amortization, because now we have an asset and we have to amortize the asset. Okay? So at the end, the cost that goes in the P&L is almost the same, but it is not, it is part of the amortization and part the cost of the interest. Okay? Other questions? If you look at the annual report, no, I explain this later. Okay, and then we have a now we have 4 different categories. Current operating asset, and here we have minus current operating liabilities. This is 1. Okay? Top left. Bottom left, non-current operating asset. minus non-current operating liabilities. Second. Okay? Third and fourth, we have current financial debts minus current financial assets. Third. And fourth, non-current financial debts minus non-current financial. The fifth is that. Okay? So going into the, let me say, operational approach. According to this operational approach, when we have a current asset, we should decide if this current asset is operating or financial. If it is operating, it stays on the left. If it's financial, it goes to the right, etc. Okay. Each item goes in one of these categories. Each category has a name. It's called in a different way. And I'm sure that you know, you have already heard about some of them. How it is called the category number 1? Do you know? Do you remember? Is this the first time that you see this reformulation or not? Usually you have the financial reformulation, so current asset, current liabilities, etc. What is called the group number 1? The group number 1, now when I say the name, you say, net working capital. Have you already heard about the net working capital? Capitale circolante netto. Okay? Yes, I forget that some of you have studied. Net working capital, NWC, or working capital requirement. NWC is from the accounting side, working capital requirement is from the finance side. But usually we call a net working capital. Why working? Working means that it works in the core business. It is the capital that works for running the business. Okay? Because it is the amount of resources that we have invested in short time for running the business. Then we have non-current operating asset and non-current operating liabilities. The difference is called NFA. Net fixed asset. And when we refer to net fixed asset, we know that they are operating assets. Okay? Net in this case means asset minus liabilities. Okay? The net working capital plus the net fixed asset is equal to the net operating asset, NOA, net operating asset. In Italian is capitale investito. The net operating asset is totally different from the total asset. Because in this case, net operating asset means that we have all operating asset minus all operating liabilities. We don't have financial asset. Okay? The net operating asset represents the amount of money that we have invested in the core business. That the company has invested in the core business. Okay? On the other side of the balance sheet, we have the sources, the providers of the funds. And the providers of the funds are two types. The debt holders and the shareholders. Shareholders refer to equity. So we have a category that is equity. The debt holders, we have here not the total amount of debt. We have the net debt. Okay? And the category number 3, current financial debt minus current financial asset, it is called net financial position short term. The net financial position short term is the amount of the net financial debt that the company has to repay during the next 12 months. Only financial debt. So the total financial debt short term minus the financial asset. We can say that these represent the needs of cash, because this is the amount of money that we have to repay with the financial institutions. Okay? We have also the net financial position long term. Net financial debt long term. I will save the whiteboard, and if I'm able, if I remember how to do, I will upload the whiteboard on the platform. Okay. If I remember how to do. So our balance sheet, our managerial balance sheet is the net working capital, net fixed asset, net operating asset. On the other side, net financial position short term, net financial position long term, net. And this is capital employed. And this is capital invested. Okay? a let me you see that this is a completely different perspective from the financial one. From the financial perspective that we have in the annual report according to the International Accounting. Let me do a very simple example to understand why this structure is more informative than the usual structure that we have in the International Accounting. I present the structure of a balance sheet according to the International Accounting Standard, and then we reclassify this structure, this balance sheet, according to the managerial structure. So we have account receivable 1,000, property, plant and equipment 5,000, cash and cash equivalent. We will see what the cash equivalent is in a few weeks, but is cash and other financial activities that can be considered cash 10,000. So 16,000. On the other side, we have equity, $500. Loan, $10,000, and accounts payable 5,500. Okay? No. If you forget the managerial balance sheet, forget it. If you see a balance sheet with this structure, account receivable 1,000, property, plant, equipment 5,000, cash and cash equivalents 10,000, and liability 6,500, accounts payable, loan 9,000, and equity 500. What is, if you look at this balance sheet, and I ask you, do you think that this company is risky or not? If this company has a good financial situation or not? What is your answer? Is your answer? From what you know from the bachelor, from the undergraduate. I don't believe that you don't have any idea. Yes?
Loan is long-term, right?
Loan is, we have to consider long term or short term.
I mean, I guess it would be better, right? Because it's long-term.
Okay, imagine long term. Okay.
It wouldn't be nice if you were financing long-term, like operating activities. How does that make sense?
But what about the financial structure of this company? If you are the owner, are you happy or you have concerns if you see this balance sheet? Yes? You have your name? George? George has concerns. Why, George, you have concerns?
We look at net balance sheet long term, negative.
Don't look at, don't think using the strategic balance sheet. So forget what I have explained.
The loan actually is bigger than the PPAs. Right now, we involved a lot of gas and electric loans, and we don't have that much of account receivable as on paper.
Okay. This is already something more sophisticated than I thought at the beginning for the question, but I will go back to you later. Yes?
I was going to say the debt over equity ratio is very high.
So the debt over equity, so the first thing when I look is the debt over equity, right? And we have 15,500 of that because we don't make any different reasoning regarding operating and financing debt, financial debt. We have that our asset is 30 times higher than the debt, than the equity. Because our equity is 500 and our assets are 16,000. I could say that the real owners of this company are the banks and the suppliers. Okay? If we look at this picture, the real owners are the banks and the suppliers. Okay? And this is an absolutely misleading picture. Because if we reformulate the balance sheet according to the managerial structure, what we do? We move accounts payable from the left, from the right to the left. We move the cash and carry equivalent from the left to the right, and that's it. So we have the account receivable 1,000 and accounts payable minus 6,500. So our net working capital is negative of 5,500. We have the PPE, that is 5,000. And the net operating asset is minus 500. Minus 500. On the other side, we have loan, 9,000. Cash and cash equivalent, 10,000. financial position is negative 1,000, and we have equity 500. The capital employed is minus 500. This is the question for tomorrow morning. How can we interpret this one? So what is the group at 8:45? Please raise your hand. Only you at 8:45. Okay, please raise. Don't worry. Okay, so be very, very active at 8:45. Not a sleepy person tomorrow morning at 8:45, because we want to answer to this question tomorrow morning. Okay? How can we interpret this balance sheet in relation to the previous one? Okay? There are two completely different pictures. The company is the same. The numbers are the same, but what we see is a completely different situation. We discuss this tomorrow morning. Okay? See you tomorrow.
Good.